Yo, hey, hello everyone. Hello. Welcome back to another live stream, but for something slightly new, slightly different today, which should be fun and interesting. Let me get my setup fully set up. So, today I want to explore a song analysis moment of The Wizard and I. What makes it such a captivating and exciting and interesting and effective song, and more specifically, character establishment song. This is one that has found its way into the musical theater canon very, very easily, and so today we're going to take some time, break it down, talk about all the various aspects of the song, why they work, what they're doing, and kind of picking up from what's on the page. Exactly what's on the page. The importance, the different important aspects of where the song is placed, what the song is doing, what it's doing for the character, the journey, its plot, what the music is giving us, what the lyric is giving us. So I'm not going to be going through the process of trying to guess what Stephen Schwartz was writing or thinking as he was writing this. Instead, I want to use what's actually on the paper to analyze this. But first and foremost, hello. My name is Michael Ratty, aka Musical Theater Writer Guy. So if you're new to the channel, welcome, friends. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Hey, what's up? On this channel, we talk about everything musical theater writing, from mostly a storytelling perspective, sometimes with interviews, sometimes with live streams, where we chat about things. We're trying out a little song analysis. Maybe this would become a series as well, in addition to my bi-weekly normal videos. Normal? Short? Produced. Those ones, the scripted and produced ones, plus shorts, all sorts of things. I'm also the founder of the Musical Theater Writing Collective, which is an online hub, an online community for musical theater writers from around the world. A place where we can gather and share our work and get feedback and enjoy each other's writing and company, where we can share resources. I also offer classes, including the FLAGSHIP Musical Theater Writing Workshop course, which is cohort 4 starts at the end of this month. So if you're interested or potentially interested, take a look at that. I'll talk more about that later. And yeah, so we've been doing live streams pretty regularly recently, and I'm enjoying them. Hope you enjoy them too. But why this topic and why today? Oh, before I forget to mention, if there's time at the end of the hour, we'll do a typical Ask Me Anything sort of thing. So if you're around and you want to partake in that, if we have any questions, very happy to chat about pretty much anything. So why this topic and why today? Well, a member of the community, actually one of our youngest members, a student still in high school, asked me about doing a deep analysis of songs from the canon as a learning opportunity. Hello, David! Welcome to the Broadway Maven from Jerusalem. Thank you for being here. So here we are, and we're going to take a deep dive into our first of these today. This is mostly going to be off the cuff. I do find that in terms of song analysis, I tend to get bogged down if I sit down and write out too much stuff ahead of time, and then I get confused and kind of fumble my way through, if you will. So this will be a little bit more off the cuff, less scripted. But that means that also you get the opportunity to interact with me throughout our time together as well. Good morning, good morning! Yes, it is still morning. I feel like I've lived a whole day already today. It's kind of weird that's only 11 a.m. here on the East Coast. Goodness. Let us do it. Let's go into this. So, The Wizard and I. A beautiful piece of acting and singing, which I think, honestly, this song is a bit of a gift to a performer, and we can see why as we go through it. But first and foremost, this is a character establishment song. This is where we get the first opportunity to really hear what it is that makes Elphaba tick, what she wants, what she's looking for. And in her mind, at this moment, her major want has to do with the wizard, she thinks. Now, one of the fun things about character establishment songs is oftentimes, if they are an I want song, the want is actually not what the character thinks it actually is. we'll get more into that as we go through. So today what we're going to talk about, the plot, the journey, the character, rhythm, rhyme, melody, hook, musical atmosphere, subtext, emotion, anything and everything as we go along through. So I'm going to start at the beginning and we're going to just do this thing. Okay, I just want to start with that for a moment because it's kind of iconic at this moment. We all hear this. We know exactly what song's coming, right? Part of what I love about this is that it's taking a tried and true musical theater motif moment, which is to take a major chord and raise the fifth, right? And then we're going to do it again, and we are still going to raise that fifth, but we're going to add a 7, a major 7 on top of it as well. Kind of gives like a mysterious and crunchy atmosphere. It's very Kander and Ebb. And we're going to use more of it as we go along through here. Did that really just happen? Have I actually understood? This weird quirk I've tried to suppress or hide is a talent that could help me meet the wizard if I make so I'll make good. And we'll get there in a second. I know. The opening is so fun on this. It's not my favorite structure. She gets what she wants for too early to be satisfying in a normal structure. Interesting. I think, well, that'll be an interesting conversation to continue to have throughout our time together, David. But thank you for writing that in. Because I would argue that she doesn't get what she wants at all, in fact, because she's not aware of what she wants. But we'll get there. So, like I said, with the rising fifth, this motif thing, we actually go all the way. That's probably pretty familiar, right? We hear that a lot in musical theater. I think probably one of the more famous examples would be maybe This Time. Right? But it's a tried and true musical theater and cabaret sound. So that's kind of lovely, a nice way in, but her melody here, did that really just happen? This is very talkative. Have I actually understood? Actually understood. We're beginning to get a sense that there's going to be some hold, some pausing, and a fall or resolution of some variety, which we're going to do throughout the whole rest of this song. This weird quirk I've tried to suppress or hide. That's the first time we're going to get a tried and true 7 chord here. Very musical theater all of a sudden. Is a talent that could help me meet the wizard. Ooh, boy, is that satisfying, right? And that's the first time we're saying what it is we're looking for, meeting the wizard. If I make good. Ooh, if we make what? Good. Because this whole thing is posed as good and bad, right? We call her wicked throughout the entire show. That lovely smear campaign. But really what she was looking for early on was to be able to make good. And what does good mean is a huge theme in this show. We're setting it up right here, right now. But this is not a satisfying moment yet. And we pull to this G flat. Because we're going somewhere else now, friends. So I'll make good. Going to the C major moment, which is suddenly very bright, right? Because we were here, A flat is comfortable and kind of mysterious, and then we get to this C major. Like, okay, there's brightness, there's optimism here, and we'll analyze that in a moment here. What literally is making good? Doing good and making up are. Yeah, I mean, what does it mean to make good? Does she mean it in the way of she is going to make herself good? Is she going to literally make good things to put out into the world? And what is good itself? But also, there is a weird kind of language to this entire show. Wicked has a vocabulary unto its own that I think is interesting. and sometimes confusing at times. Weird syntax things or weird vocabulary things. And this idea of making good, I kind of toss in that category because it leaves it a little more open to interpretation. What does it mean to make good? Oh yes, the musical development on this song is beautiful and brilliant. Alright, so as we move into our C major moment, we get a few interesting things. So we get that suspension, right? 1, 2, and then suspended 4-ish, question mark? Is it the 4 chord with a 6 and a 2? I think that's what's being indicated here to us, right? With that mild fall back to, right? We're hinting at 1, 2, 4, 5, which is something that's going to come up throughout this song and throughout the entire show. One of the things I really love is the 1 to 4 suspension is such a part of this show that it is defying gravity, right? That 1 to the 4, we're not getting the 5 to the 1, right? We only get that when we get our major resolution moments. We're kind of setting that up right now. So that's one of the more interesting things. And then also we have this running thing. When you have a running note like that, an eighth note that's just ostinato, we are either usually building excitement or we are diving into anxiety. And I think there's a little bit of both here, right? She's excited about this idea of going and working with the wizard and being accepted and all this stuff that could potentially open her life to something beautiful and wonderful and good. But also, there's always a possibility that that's just not gonna happen. So it could be anxious too. Alright, I'll stop teasing and move on. When I meet the wizard, once I prove my worth. When I meet the wizard, what I've waited for since birth, and with all his wizard wisdom, by my looks he won't be blinded. But do you think the wizard is dumb? Or like Munchkin, so small-minded? No, you say to me, I see who you truly are, a girl on whom I can rely, and that's how we'll begin, the wizard and I. And we'll get there in a moment. Okay, so this is our first section here. This song is beautifully structured. I really love this song. It's kind of got this 32 bar-ish feel to it. That kind of feels like we just did a 32 bar chorus. Is it exactly 32 bars? I've not counted it out to find out, but it kind of feels like it is. I don't think it is. But this, when I meet the wizard, we're still starting in that talkative range, right? We're not going anywhere big yet. Once I prove my worth, then I meet the wizard. This is our first move down to the A, right? When I've waited for since birth, and with all, again with the suspensions, we're always suspending. Why? Because we're excited and we don't know where things are gonna go. How can we resolve yet? And we haven't hit the main idea of the song yet. What I've waited for since birth, all the way from birth. Okay, so now we've got this idea from her specifically, that this is an idea that has been in her head her entire life, from before she could speak and put words together, right? This is something that maybe is a thought that was handed to her, not an internal thought. Maybe. And with all his wizard wisdom, by my looks he won't be blinded. Ah, by my looks. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. We're getting to something that feels a little more substantial about the argument itself. Why is it that we want to meet the wizard specifically? Do you think the wizard is dumb? Or like Munchkin, so small-minded? No. Ah, okay. If the wizard is dumb, he can't be helpful. If the wizard is small-minded, he's going to be caught by the surface level. What is the surface level? Literally, her skin, green. if that is a stopping point for him, like it is for the Munchkins, we're not going anywhere, we're not doing anything, right? So this is where we pull back that anxiety idea, and we actually get that running eighth note pattern coming back, and our first resolution, as we go to, say to me I see who you truly are, a girl on whom I can rely, and that's how we'll begin, the wizard and I. Where does she go to first in talking about the wizard and I? The thing that he's going to say to her is, I see who you truly are, a girl on whom I can rely. So even she doesn't seem to have a good sense of who she is, or at least hasn't fully opened that up to us yet, right? This idea of who you truly are, but then she cuts it short with, I can rely on you. Okay, so she's reliable. That's great. That's lovely. There's so much more to say, but at least we've opened the door here. The disability language. Oh yes, absolutely, the disability language. It is definitely a thing in this show. Thank you for bringing that up. Blinded and dumb. In a show where there's a girl in a wheelchair. 100%. Yeah. 2003. I bet some updates could be made to the language that would be really beneficial. So we have opened the door here, the wizard, and we are not so settled that this idea is going to be wonderful and great and perfect and happy. We can't end on the tonic. It's not time, right? Because this could all still go wrong. Or perhaps we dare not hope all the way, because if we hope all the way, what's going to happen if it all falls apart, right? So we have to pull it down, and we pull it down to the fifth here, right? The wizard and I. That's fun. Okay, next section we have back to our main melody with a little bit more intonation and presence on the voice here. It's a little less spoken. It's not labeled as piano anymore, right? Now, in fact, it doesn't give us any dynamic, which probably indicates a speaking sort of volume here on this. Once I'm with the wizard, my whole life will change. 'Cause once you're with the wizard, no one thinks you're strange. No father is not proud of you. No sister acts ashamed. And all of us has to love you. By the wizard you're acclaimed. And this gift of this curse I have inside. And maybe at last I'll know why. As we work hand in hand, the wizard and I'm going to stop there for the moment. Woo! This gets interesting. Some really fun things in here. It's mostly the same music, mostly the same section. But now we have this idea of, once I'm with the wizard, my whole life will change. Okay. Whole life. Everything. Top to bottom. Oh, this idea of meeting the wizard, this is about fully changing her life. But can't she change her life on her own? No, right? She's been kind of beaten down in various ways throughout her life. She doesn't have the confidence that she can do that at this point. The wizard is her savior, right? Because once you're with the wizard, no one thinks you're strange. I resolved it before. It doesn't actually resolve in the music. Sorry about that. No one thinks you're strange. No father is not proud of you. Weird stress on that. Just going to throw that out there, Steve Schwartz. But no father is not proud of you. No father is not proud of you. No sister acts ashamed. Ugh. Ew. That's the environment she's grown up in? No wonder she wants a major change, right? This is also the first time that we're pulling in a blue note, right? No father is not proud of you. We're throwing that B flat in here and then an E flat. No sister acts ashamed. Neither of those are in the key signature. It's an odd moment to pull those in unless they mean something a little bit intense and dark to her, which, haha, they do. Right? And then we get to this, and all of us has to love you, and by the wizard you're acclaimed. Now we're getting closer to it. If the wizard acclaims her, everybody has to love her, right? And that language is a little bit forceful, for sure. But this idea of people will love me. People will understand me and see me and love me if I work with the wizard. Oh goodness, boy, she's putting a lot on this guy, right? A guy she's never met. And this gift or this curse. That's the show right there. Gift or curse. Good or bad. Wicked? Right? This whole idea of what is the innate gift you are given, or set of gifts you are given, and what does that mean to yourself and to other people, right? Depends on what you end up doing with them, which, gets twisted on her. This poor character really gets beaten down and manipulated the entire show. Anyway, and this gift or this curse I have inside, maybe at last I'll know why. Why what? We don't finish that. Maybe at last I'll know why. Why what? Why we have it? Why it's either good or bad? Why it's a gift? Why it's a curse? I don't know. Right? She doesn't seem to know either. As we work hand in hand, the wizard and we don't go the tonic again, right? In fact, we change our tonality completely. We go to this A major feel. The wizard and I. We're gonna do something completely different. And one day he'll say to me, Elphaba, a girl who is so superior. Shouldn't a girl who's so good inside have a matching exterior? And since folks here to an absurd degree seem fixated on your verdigris, would it be alright by you if I degreenify you? And we'll finish that in a moment. This is an interesting move. It's not an official key change. There's no key change in the music here. But what we do get is this tonality shift. So we go briefly to this A major 7 feel, as though it's the 5 for our 1. Our new 1 being D major. The song is in C major. We're going up a whole step. That's an odd choice. Unless the idea is to pull us to something that feels lifted, right? And I do think that that's what's happening here. I think we are lifting to this other key center to give us the crux of the potential joy of this idea. What is the moment that she is thinking about in her head when she talks about meeting the wizard and working with the wizard? The pivotal moment, like that keystone that's gonna open her world wide. It's this. One day he'll say to me, Elphaba, a girl who is so superior. Superior, that's an interesting choice of word. Superior. Shouldn't a girl who's so... Wait a second, hold on. Suddenly we're in F major tonality. That's not in the key of D. So now we're wrapping back around, getting closer to where we started, but we're not there yet. Shouldn't a girl who's so good inside... Ooh. Okay, so now we're getting an E minor with a, what, a 6? 4? E minor with a 4 on there? Why? Shouldn't a girl who's so good inside have a matching exterior? If we felt so joyous about the possibility of that idea, wouldn't we stay in our major lifted feel in D major? Why are we going back, descending, and into something that's minor? Shouldn't a girl who's so good inside have a matching exterior? That doesn't feel happy. And since now we're wrapping closer to where we started, folks here to an absurd degree. Okay, those are funky chords. Crunchy, right? Seem fixated on your verdigris. Okay. We don't feel great about that, clearly. The subtext is crunch galore. And then, would it be alright by you? Ah, that's that last move we had. Make good. Would it be alright by you? But we don't feel feel perfect about it. So we're not going to stay on the tonic. If I degreenify you. Suspension. That is a journey off the song, essentially, to this dream moment and everything it means. It feels slightly tumultuous, right? So much so that when we land back to the, of course that's not important to me, which we'll get to in a moment, that it feels like we're returning to something more comfortable. But the thing that we're returning to is a lie. That's very important to her. Is it so much important that she wants to change her skin color? No, it's not what it's about. She wants to be accepted for who she is, loved for everything that she brings to the table, including her green skin, which people are afraid of, including this power that she seems to have as well, which people are afraid of, right? So, to again pull back so we can feel what that whole thing to hear what the whole thing feels like. There we go. As we work hand in hand, the wizard and I. One day he'll say to me, Elphaba, a girl who is so superior. Shouldn't a girl who's so good inside have a matching exterior? And since folks here to an absurd degree seem fixated on your verdigris, would it be alright by you if I degreenify you? And though of course that's not important to me, alright, why not? I'll reply, oh what a pair we'll be, the wizard and I. Okay, so we got the tonic-ish, right? So, alright, we're not, I'll reply, all that. Oh, what a pair will be, the wizard and I. Great, we're just wrapping them back up, right? Wrapping up the section back to our hook, our lovely hook, what the song is about, or thinks it's about, the wizard and I. But when we land on tonic, finally on the melody, the wizard and I. We don't land on the tonic in the accompaniment. The wizard and I. We have 6, 2, 5. While we're holding this, we're resolving to the B. So even though we're getting a resolution, which we usually don't in this song, it's getting crunchier. It's kind of fun, right? There's such cognitive dissonance in this character, in this moment, in this journey of the song, that we can't even successfully land on the tonic with this idea yet, right? The wizard and I, what a pair we'll be. The wizard and then we're gonna go somewhere completely and utterly different, right? This is, I think, one of my favorite atmospheric things in the entire show. Not just when it happens here, but anytime this music comes up, it's just, I don't know, it's beautifully done. It's great writing. We have this shift, so we were here in C major, and we are going to C flat major. Right? Ooh, which feels warm, it feels cozy. It also feels slightly, like, jarring after C major to shift downward like that. With this up top, which sounds like possibility, mystery, magic, right? Lots of things that it sounds like. Ooh, pardon me. So we have this unlimited. My future is unlimited. And I've just had a vision almost like a prophecy. I know it sounds, and we'll get there in a moment. Okay, a few things about this. First of all, this shift musically, love it. And then, of course, I'm sure we all know this by now, but in case this is your first time hearing this, that is Somewhere Over the Rainbow, right? Unlimited, my future is somewhere over the rainbow. Right? And that was done very purposely. Good work, Stephen Schwartz. Love it. This idea of limitation. That's what the song's about, isn't it? Unlimited. My future is unlimited. How does she know? Because she just had a vision that she feels in her soul is like a prophecy. I know it sounds truly crazy, and we'll get there in a moment, right? But this comes to her suddenly, out of nowhere. But is it really out of nowhere? Or as she's thinking through all these things about what the wizard is and means? Hello, welcome! All these things that it means, this dissonance can't last, right? So, like happens with humans, when we think about something and we look at the pros and the cons and we let it percolate, something pops to our brains eventually. And this is that moment here. We have this sudden, like, gasp, light bulb. Unlimited, my future is unlimited. And that's the most, like, warm, delicious feeling. That shift to here, and I've just had a, which is the same kind of lift that we were giving melodically in our verse, by the way. Just had a vision, almost like a prophecy. And then we say, I know, on this chord, I know. Because does she know? No. She's guessing. She thinks she knows. But that's what this whole song is her thinking she knows things, when ultimately she doesn't, right? I know it sounds truly crazy, and true, the vision's hazy, but we're gonna cling to it, right? Oh look, another shift to that A major suddenly out of absolutely nowhere as we have this idea, this thought that we love, right? But I swear someday there'll be a celebration. Oh, okay. So now we're on a G flat, right? Going on the 5th, rolling over the 5th. So we're gonna do a nice ascending pattern, nice and crunchy, very musical theater. We love her. A celebration throughout Oz. That's all to do with me. And now, oh, the crunch is epic. It's so good as we're shifting to a new key to finish the song. What is that new key? It's actually B major. We're not going back to C major. We're going to B major instead. Half a step down, but we love it. Great. So, also, I'm realizing I misspoke before. Even though that tonality shift was to C major or C flat major before, we actually shifted the key, actual key shift, to G flat major. That's where we were. So that's why we returned to that for the celebration throughout Oz. It's all to do with me. I mean, we know. We get it. Right? We understand what that celebration is going to be. Because we go into this knowing the Wizard of Oz. And then, you know, lovely surprise at the end of this show. It's great. But this idea of with me, in her mind, this is going to be something wonderful, right? A celebration is usually a positive thing. So as she's holding the me here, getting the 7, it doesn't feel too weird, but as we continue to hold it, suddenly that's a G minor chord, right? And then we're throwing an A natural in there as well, which clashes beautifully, again like we did earlier. And then this is our shift, okay? All while holding the B flat. It feels funky. Because, is it actually joyous? Nah, not really. Even in her mind, does it feel joyous? Because she's about to make the connection back to this idea of the wizard. But this prophecy moment didn't include the wizard. So we're making a leap backwards to our logic, to the logic that wasn't ultimately serving us, even though we thought it was serving us the whole time, right? Ah! So, it's this lovely crunch. Celebration throughout Oz, it's all to do with me. And I'll stand there, which does feel like a nice lift, right? Stand there with the wizard, feeling things I never felt. Here we go. Page, stay. And though I never show it, I'd be so happy I could melt. Lovely little pot shot right there. And then we do resolve it this time. I could melt. And so it'll be for the rest of my life. And I want nothing else till I die. Held in such high esteem. We'll get to the ending moment in a second. So here we are. We're in B major. It feels the most stable of all the times that we've had this melody come around, right? We've thrown in blue notes, we've withheld suspensions before, back when we were in C major, we made these tonality shifts. But now that we're here in B major, it feels triumphant. Right? And then we got our descending pattern again. Though I never show it, I'd be so happy I could melt. So, we feel like we have found it, right? In her mind, her want, she's taken this prophecy that came to her mind and taken the idea of wanting to be with the wizard, and she's put them together. And so, this is her want. She thinks. Ultimately, no. What she wants is to be seen and be loved, right? That is the whole journey of the character. But she can't quite see how that could possibly happen because of her circumstances, right? And so now we have taken these ideas and falsely placed them together. And so we kind of lose all of our crunch here, right? I'd be so happy I could melt. And so it'll be for the rest of my life. And I'll want nothing else till I die. Okay, so we talked about melting, we've talked about dying, we've resolved the chord each time. If that doesn't do something to us as audience members who know what's going to happen to her in The Wizard of Oz, then, well, I think we've all missed something. But to me, as an audience member, I sit there and go, ooh, poor gal, right? And then we have our ending moment where we get held in such high esteem. So we're getting that lift that we were always doing with The Wizard and I feel here, but on different words. And then we shift our key back to C major. When people see me, they will scream. Again, that sudden shift upward in tonality feels exciting in this moment. We've heard it so many times, our ears are used to it by this point. It's good writing there. Scream for half of Oz's favorite team. That's her and the wizard, right? Should be a joyous chord. Well, we're singing team. Okay, doesn't quite feel joyous. It feels crunchy. But then, because we have to finish out the idea with this feeling in mind of it's going to be brilliant and wonderful and great, we end with that very standard chord on the G, pulling us into the ending. We know we're going to our tonic, right? The wizard. And we're finally going to sing the tonic and let it be a tonic. We're going to go places in between, but it's going to be the tonic. And that's all in the key. And then we have this lovely moment. Right? To pull us out of it before we land. Which is a beautiful little microcosm of what we just did in the whole song. We started on that A flat moment, which is what team is. Team, pulling us into C major, the wizard and I. And then we leave C major for a moment and return. It's a great tune too, right? By the end of this, 3.5 minute song, we're like, yes, I'm with you, I'm rooting for you. It's beautifully done. And in terms of the journey of this character, this is like the whole journey of the show boiled down. I think I want this because of the world around me, but actually, there's something special, right, that prophecy as it comes in, there's something special about her that means that her destiny is not what she thinks it is. And ultimately, she can find what she wants. She can find that happiness. It's there. Has nothing to do with the wizard, right? So it's a really cool moment in musical theater history, and I think it works super well. We can talk about some other of the minutiae in the song as well, but I do want to just take a moment and pause because we got through the song. Just say, hey, hello, welcome if you've joined us while we've been doing this. Hi! We are analyzing The Wizard and I today. A beautiful and wonderful character establishment song that has clearly done good work because it survives and is so prevalent in the musical theater canon. And while I sip water here for a moment, please feel free to write any reactions or questions in the chat as well. We'll talk a little bit more about the mechanics here in a second. I spoke a lot about the music today, but we'll get to the lyrics too. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Cohort 4 of the Flagship Musical Theater Writing Workshop course is about to start at the end of this month. We actually will be entering our special enrollment period in a moment. And that course, it's a 20-week course where we learn all of the foundations. I really do mean all of the foundations of musical theater writing, from the lyric side, the music side, structure side. With real examples, we do a lot of analysis of tunes as we go through, as examples of the things we're talking about. We talk about things from a classical standpoint, from a contemporary standpoint. It's an excellent open discussion sort of atmosphere. It's not really lecture so much, but the groups are small, so it really feels intimate and it's wonderful. And in addition to that, the other major components are the collaboration piece. Throughout our time together, there are 6 song challenges with 9 deadlines where you will be collaborating with people and on the different songs, on the different challenges. And the latter 3 have rewrites as well. That's what makes the 9 deadlines throughout our time. So you'll be learning and doing it hands-on as you go in collaboration with other people, which is just a delight. And then we do our feedback structure. And if you're familiar, if you're in the community, I'm sure you're familiar with our feedback structure at this point, but we have a very specific feedback process that centers on the writers and the writers' goals, and always through a lens of affirmation and kindness first, and then going to what the writers are looking for, so that you always walk away from your feedback moments feeling like you got what you needed to go forward and continue your journey. There's a lot more to it, and I'll drop a link in the comments. I'll pin a link to the description of the course, and that's where you can apply. The application is just a call with me, and it's a lot of fun. So I hope you'll consider that. And I see some comments coming in, so here's to hoping we get some good convo going, huh? Some non-writing work right now. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here, Purple Pop. The music is amazing. I'm glad that you explained in a way that makes me think below the surface. Ah, absolutely. Well, thank you for making the suggestion. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, let's talk about a few other things here. This song gives a good sense of musical world. We hit on some of the motifs of the rest of the show, as we've already talked about. But I want to talk about the lyric side of things a little bit, because I haven't. I mentioned a couple of moments, maybe I only mentioned one, but there are a couple of moments where the scansion is a little bit like, that's not how we would say that. But for the most part, it's pretty well written to be talkative until it's more singy, right, those moments. But let's look at the structure of the lyric here. When I meet the wizard, once I prove my worth, and then I meet the wizard, what I've waited for since birth. Okay, so clear rhyme scheme happening here. And with all of his wizard wisdom, by my looks he won't be blinded. Do you think the wizard is dumb, or like Munchkin so small-minded? No. Right, so we're kind of saving our rhymes. We're pretty sparse here. He'll say to me, I see who you truly are, a girl on who I can rely. And that's how we'll begin. The wizard and I. We really only have 3 moments of rhyming couplet. For the most part, I shouldn't say that. That would be a very big generalization. oftentimes in musical theater, when we have a lack of rhyme, it's because we are thinking through something actively, or perhaps we have high anxiety about something, or we don't feel like our minds are fully wrapped around. I say our like the character. Goodness, can you tell I'm an actor? That the mind of the character is fully wrapped around what they're singing about in a way where they can go through the process of adding rhyme in, right? And so the rhyme scheme's pretty sparse. And for the most part, like I said, it's very talkative, and it works well. Once I'm with the wizard, my whole life will change, because once you're with the wizard, no one thinks you're strange. There are a couple of syntax things here that don't quite follow, right? My whole life will change, because when you're with the wizard, no one thinks you're strange. No father is not proud of you. That feels weird. No father is not proud of you. That double negative. No sister acts ashamed. We get it, but it is kind of weird on the ear. And all of Oz has to love you when by the wizard you're acclaimed, right? That's our first moment of triple rhyme, I believe, right? Ashamed is a pseudo rhyme. I guess. No, we got changed strange, ashamed, acclaimed, right? But we're getting that kind of imperfect rhyme across the ainge and the aimed sounds. That's bringing it a little more cohesively together, even though it's not perfect rhyme. And then we get Y and Wizard and I. When we get to our dream moment, though, one day you'll say to me, Elphaba, a girl who is so superior, showing a girl who's so good inside have a matching exterior. We're kind of following the same pattern again. Since folks here to an absurd degree seem fixated on your verdigris, pulling in some French, sure, why not? Would it be alright by you if I degreenify you? That's another weird moment in terms of scansion. Would it be alright by you if I degreenify you? It works, but it feels a little bit like, question mark on that? Though, of course, that's not important to me. Alright, why not? I reply, oh, what a pair will be the wizard and I. Great. Right? When we get to our moment of vision, unlimited. My future is unlimited. I've just had a vision almost like a prophecy. Although we say, vision almost like a prophecy. We would say prophecy, so that feels a little awkward. I know, it sounds truly crazy. Okay, so before that, before crazy, there's no rhyme in that. Because this came to us, right, in the moment. There's no need for a rhyme moment there. It sounds truly crazy, and true the vision's hazy, but I swear someday there'll be a celebration throughout Oz. It's all to do with me. So we have two more couplets there, pulling us back into our ending, and I'll stand there with the wizard, feeling things I've never felt. Though I'd never show it, I'd be so happy I could melt. So it'll be for the rest of my life, and I'll want nothing else till I die. So die is going to be our last rhyme word with I. That's an interesting choice. I think it's a great choice, right? Because the death of the Wicked Witch is important, both to this story and The Wizard of Oz. Held in such high esteem, when people see me, they will scream for having Oz's favorite team. That's our first actual triple rhyme there. And that's delightful to the ear, really pulls us, lets us know we're heading toward an ending and ramping up to that final, the wizard and I. The weird scan could be emphasizing how unlikely and ridiculous her expectation is. It could be. Absolutely. I tend to think that for writers who are well seasoned by the time they write a show, that when there's a weird scansion moment, it's usually for a reason. I like to give that benefit of the doubt. Either way, it's up to the performer to figure out how to make it work and add a reason in, no matter what. But I agree, that could absolutely be part of what's going on there with the scansion. It also could be that she doesn't fully believe herself as she says it, right? And so lyrically, it's pretty simple what we're doing in terms of structure as we go through, because there's so much work that this song is doing across all of its sections. I think that was a smart choice to not overwhelm the audience with rhyme. Audience? Where am I from? Audience with rhyme. But I did want to take a moment and point that out because I hadn't talked much about the lyric yet. Oh goodness, it's already 11:50. So we have 10 minutes here, friends, if we want to do a little Ask Me Anything or we want to talk about the song a little bit more. Let me know. Did you enjoy some song analysis moment here? Is this something you'd like more of? I've got tons of songs I could analyze because I do this work all the time for myself. When I'm interested in why a song works, I sit down with it and try to figure it out, which is a lot of fun for me, very nerdy, but also helps me as a writer pick up on tips and tricks and tools and things that I can take with me into my own writing as I continue to write my own shows. So if that's been interesting to you, I'd love to keep going with it. Like I said, it's fun. But we'll do a little Ask Me Anything in the last 10 minutes, so if you have questions about anything, me, musical theater writing collective, the cohort course, just want to chat about life, we're here. I'm going to take a sip of water because I know that comments are indeed delayed. We'll see. We'll see if we have anything coming. Oh, my goodness. My voice is a little sad with all of the ragweed blooming here in New York. That's my worst allergen, and it's a-comin'. I feel it in my bones and in my vocal cords. Did I miss a comment from earlier? Oh, just David signing off. Thank you for being here, David. If you have not yet checked out the Broadway Maven, we did an interview that was released on the channel 2 weeks ago. Fun conversation, so feel free to pop back and give that a look. And while I give another minute here to see if any comments come through, I will just say that there is a lovely growing community here on this channel and also inside the Writing Collective, and if you want to be more of a part of it, please come and join us. We have a lot of fun in there. We just had a lab the other night, and there were three writers in the room with me who were in very different parts of the country and different stages of their writing careers, and just the conversation was so lovely that by the end of it, I think my heart had grown 3 sizes. It was, I don't know, it's just a lovely moment. We get a lot of those little moments. And summer is kind of light for everybody anyway, so it was nice to have just a nice connection moment the other evening. This was interesting. Do you think there's a particular way to imbue this kind of dramatic irony? Yeah, I do. I think you have to start in a macro when you're looking at the show as a whole. So, okay, so there is a principle that can be utilized where if the protagonists want truly is not what they want, which is oftentimes the case, maybe most of the time the case, this idea of them in their I Want song or their character establishment talking about what they want, as you build out their argument for what they want, kind of looking at how you're going to then undermine that later in the show, you can pull in pieces of that material to the I Want song to kind of begin to show what is going to feel true, what is not going to feel true. Music as your subtext and as your way of building environment is probably your biggest tool within the song itself. Whenever you have something that feels super secure musically, like we're talking 1s, 4s, 5s, and 1s, without anything else going on, if the lyric is also happy, that makes us wonder a little bit, like, okay, is this going to stick around? But if you never throw in anything that provides dissonance or extra suspension or changes of tonality, then we would be more likely to believe that person. It also makes for a less interesting song that way. But if the lyric is a happy one, or a positive in some way, where we're talking about the thing that we want, and the music is not matching that in tone, we'll get more of a sense that there's something else going on. But using this as a way to plant seeds for how you're going to change things up, or show the true want later on, or undermine the argument, is a lot of fun. I think that's a great way to come in and kind of create that, as you said, dramatic irony. So hopefully that's helpful. That's a good question. Very good question. Got 5 minutes left here, friends, if we want anything else to chat about. Otherwise, we can sign off for today. Danielle, I would love to see more and analyze the different kind of songs at certain stages of the story. Yeah. I would definitely want to be changing it up. Especially with topics of song placement. Yes, song placement. Something that is, I think, something that you have to learn how to do through practice. There are, of course, ways you can sit down, you can analyze scores, you can see what's similar between different shows, and use that as your way into figuring out what works in terms of song spotting or song placement. But yes, absolutely, talking about different songs is going to be useful here if we can analyze those, and then just doing it. Honestly, some of the best education I've had in terms of song placement is going with my gut instinct and then figuring out what was correct and what wasn't. That's a lot of fun to look back on, at least for me. But yes, absolutely, I would be very happy to do that. Great. All right, friends. This was great. This was lovely and wonderful. I so appreciate all of you for being here with me today. As always, if you want to check out the collective, you know where to go. I'll put a link for the cohort course down below. And until the next time, I hope to see you all again soon. And have a safe and healthy couple of weeks. All right, friends. Cheers. Bye.